What is going on, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I'm Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 183.
Chris, I can't believe June is over. Our theme for the month has been so much fun. It's called the Road to Chord Music Festival. We have had some kick-ass guests. We talked to Rishi from Eternal Boy. We talked to the boys from Homegrown. We talked to the boys from Mallory Run. And we are going to end it strong. At least I'm going to talk strong. Their voices are a little shot. We'll get into that. But we have John and Henry from the band Keep Flying. What is up, guys?
Hello, everybody. How we doing? This is just my normal speaking voice. I'm not putting this on.
I feel like this is like a sexy voice that you're doing for us.
I promise you, this is just me.
I will double down and let you know that is Henry's actual speaking voice.
I feel like when I saw you on stage, it was a little bit less of the raspy, but you were singing most of the time.
Yes. Well, there's me here, and then there's Stage Henry, who is a very different character altogether. He almost looks different.
You look familiar. It was like a week ago. You kind of look the same. John, you're like impossible to forget. Can I ask you, you have the big gauges in your ears. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. However, it seemed like you take them out on stage. Are you worried it's going to get caught on something? Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, they're actually not flared. So like the ends, the two edges do not get bigger. So they're flat. I got them made custom flat because I have a lot of nieces and nephews and I work with kids a lot and they grab your ears. You know this. You guys know this. So by having them flat, if someone grabs, they'll just fall out versus staying on my earlobe from the flared jewelry and perhaps rip the earlobe. So I have them flat. So that being said, if I wore them on stage, they'd fall out in 8 seconds. One headbang, they would fall out instantly.
Gotcha. I thought maybe you were just nervous about getting it caught on a wire or somebody moshing or skanking and like yanking your entire brain off of your head.
No, it's more so that the jewelry will and it's wood, so they'll just shatter. Like not the same as glass, but they shatter. And sadly, it's happened too many times. And the jewelry costs a lot of money because it's all custom made. So I keep them out as often as I can, actually.
Fantastic.
Cool. So I'll tell you what, we obviously really excited to have you guys here. But so Steve saw you guys live, and I know when it's a good show because first of all, Steve goes to 1 billion shows a year, and so he has a lot of experience seeing bands live. But he was texting me when he was watching you guys and was super impressed and was really excited about what you guys. The performance that you guys had on stage. So it must be quite a show. Actually, I'm kind of jealous that I missed it. But yeah, Steve, obviously you were there, so you probably could speak to it better than me, but I could hear how impressed you were.
Yeah,
so.
I think the cool thing for me, so first off, John, not to brag, but I used to play the saxophone. So anytime that I see sax that's in a cool band, I'm excited about it. But coming away from that show, so I've listened to your music, and John, you and I ran into each other at the merch table at another concert, and we just kind of got to chatting, and you were like, oh yeah, I'm doing the show in Philly, looked at the bill, not only you guys, but there were like 2 other bands that have been on our show, like Alumnus, and, I think it's very different, honestly, listening to you guys on Spotify or wherever you're listening and seeing you live, because the band is just so unique. The mix of that, like, I'm a little bit more of like the bubblegum pop punky type of dude. Chris is a little bit more of the like hardcore and screamy type of dude. But you guys do all of these things and you mix it in with the horns, and it's just so many different things and works together. Like, how did the band come about and you guys decide this is the mesh that we're gonna mesh together?
You want to take this first, Henry?
I could. So my goal really was to write songs and work in elements of music that anything and everything that I enjoy and that we as a group enjoy, and try to just make a giant amalgamation of everything that I like. So, and to not restrict ourselves creatively. if there's something that we think it would be fun to do and play, we go for that. I'm personally influenced by anything from the basic, the pop punk stuff that it kind of comes through, um, to radio pop, to hip hop, to the hardcore music that I'm exposed to anything and any sort of element that we can deploy to make the music unique is what we're going to do. And that was interesting.
Yeah, that's
And
my
to
friend here.
hey, what's up? And it sounded like a sound drop. It didn't even sound like a real cat. It sounded like you're doing sounds. And I was like, oh, cool.
This
I don't know
guy.
what that-
If
don't
I
know
was
what that
meowing during this would be like the worst podcast ever. If I was just
Maybe.
like meow in the background.
I
Sorry.
don't know. Maybe I'm thinking like I wonder if that's like an inside joke. They just like do like
Are you saying meow?
It
amazing.
should be.
No,
No, you can't. You cannot
drops.
shut this cat
Yeah.
up. So
I love
all
it.
these cool things. I'm not going into anybody's birth dates and social security numbers or anything like that. But did you guys grow up on Long Island? Because there's a big scene there. Or are you from other places?
I'm from Long Island,
Okay.
and Henry's from New Jersey,
Okay.
North Jersey.
So equivalent type of hardcore punk, pop punk, DIY scene. Were there some of these bands that were kind of doing what they want, whatever they wanted to listen to, that you guys got into when you were kind of coming up and getting started?
I think the way to describe the origin of this band would be that all of us at the time, like the members that formed it, and even now, we've had people come in and out, but even the folks that kind of make up the band now are all from different places. They're all from different almost generations. They're all from different scenes, different influences, and not only does that show, I think, in the tunes, but it really is in the personnel. So like two of us are from Jersey, but even the differences between me and our drummer Peter, who and I grew up in the same area, he's almost 10 years younger than me. So his experience it differs from mine, and we find our commonality there. John and I both spent our 20s and into 30s now touring either in our own bands or working for bands. And so we brought our experiences from all of these other projects into Keep Flying when we started it, and continued to do that as we progressed together. So even taking from your first question to this one, we bring in all of our experience, all of our know-how, all of our interests, all of our ambition, and we bring it here into Keep Flying. So it's been tough even to describe to people like where we're from. We now say we're from New York because it's centralized around New York, New Jersey, but that's kind of a way of simplifying the fact that we're from the Northeast, just to give it some sort of central common place. But the fact of the matter is, Keep Flying pulls its ideas and its people from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so with such an eclectic mix of different genres, kind of coming through to begin with, was it, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, was it tough to break through? I'm going to ask you, like, how challenging was it to break through?
It is. The answer is yes, because we're still doing it. So it's like
impossible. It's somehow possible. Somehow possible. I feel like based off of what Henry just said, it started with when this band started, it was immediately a touring band. We like skipped being a local band because we had already all done it with our old bands. And we found the one person in each city that got it, and then the three people in each city that got it. And then we played a lot of much smaller cities, and like those ones seemingly get it better. So there's like 5 or 6 people in those even smaller places that people never even heard of. But we're certainly still having to push it, because we're trying now as a band, like post-pandemic, we've been trying to find ways of using the internet tool as a way to push us and show people what it is that we're about. But it's just no question, it's really, as Steve said to start it off here, it's about the live show. And so that's the way that people really get it. Like that's the way that we get people locked in and join the train with us. They see it live. And so if they're not coming out, it's harder. It's significantly harder to get them invested in what it is that we're doing. So again, like I said, we're trying to use the internet tools and trying to find ways to show people what's going on out there. But I mean, I think at least the people in the chat right now, like I just am still a lover of live music, and that is still where I'm going to see something and be moved. First time I ever saw Godspeed You Black Emperor, I cried, and I seen them in Philadelphia with my buddy Chris. I cried about, I don't know, 40 minutes in, and it would, just music. Music was making me cry. It's probably the same reason why I get extra emotional over movie scores more than Oppenheimer soundtrack. I don't know if you saw the movie. It had me really rattled. It had me really in the theater. I was very, very emotional because I was just connecting with that because I knew it was a live orchestra. I'd already read that was a live orchestra that had done that that score. So yeah, I guess that's kind of a partial answer, partial answer to that question.
It's tough to break through. I think the show works because you kind of get all of the KF isms at one time. Because I just described to you an absolute panoply of facts about the band just based on where we're from and just based on the type of music we like. There's so many other elements to this thing that when you think of internet content and the way that people kind of consume things, it's a boiled down version of some other greater thing. It needs to be boiled down to a 15-second, 30-second video, which you can't really do given the details of our band. So that's been our challenge, is trying to make it so that you get little bite-sized bits of Keep Flying on the internet, and that way that might hook people in. But I think the reason why the live show works is that you get everything all at one time. So that's what works for us the best so far.
The follow-up question is, and it was interesting, John, you mentioned it, you guys skipped being a local band. Why did you do that? Why did you make that decision?
Well,
to be completely frank, we were just straight up fired up out the gate. We were fired up out the gate. Henry's band before this had dissolved after playing 200 plus shows a year. And truly, my passion for being in bands kind of dissipated after 2009. But I had spent many years, 2004 to 2009, doing the same thing. And I was working for bands and to tour managing. And I was getting to a wall where I was feeling not jealous, but upset that people that I was working for, where I felt like people were just taking it for granted. And meanwhile, I'm like standing on the side stage being like, I'd do anything to be playing right now instead of working. So when me and Henry, when this all formed, it was very crystal clear when we were in the studio, these first 4 songs, we were like, we're just going to go now. It's just, we're going to go. It's time. I missed it. And Henry was still used to doing it. And I'm really glad that we kind of kicked the door down and did it that way. It wasn't really like a pompous thing or like a entitled thing, but I certainly did feel like we've been doing this for so long. We have every right to just get started immediately. We already have the tools on how to book our own tours as well, which a lot of bands don't. We talk to the younger kids and they don't know. They ask for advice. We already learned all those techniques. We already learned those ideologies, so we could immediately put them in place with this band. It was like we were playing Ticket to Ride, and
love that game.
We already had 2 of the 3 routes already on the board. There already are two there. I've only got to make one now. It's like a handicap. Kind of felt like we were already steps ahead, so we leaned into that, and that's really why.
being road dogs for so many years, and with this band and with your previous bands, working in the bands, what do you guys think the state of live music is at this moment? Like I'm only going to see shows probably here in my area in Philly, and I'm going to visit Chris in Pittsburgh, and I might go to a show out there. But you guys are touring the country, you're going to all these places. You're in Philly on a Tuesday night, the house is packed. Do you feel like now versus, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, is the enthusiasm for these live shows and the ability to like get kids out? And we're not kids anymore, we got to work the next day. Is it better? Is it worse? Is it the same?
It's that's that. I mean, even trying to stretch that as far as 10 years would be challenging because, there's been such a different shift in the cultural paradigm for all of us in 5 years. I mean, taking the pen, there's a post-pandemic world and there's a pre-pandemic world. And I think that there's a giant wall in between 2019 and 2020 and everything past it. So if you want to try to stretch it as far back, I think the enthusiasm is still there. I think that I think the way that people become aware of these particular events, at least specifically the ones that we find ourselves a part of, I think that's different. And I think that the enthusiasm and interest is still there. It's just a matter of how you come about finding it. I think that's really different for a lot of people. And I think that those of us who are now, I'm assuming you guys are in 30s, maybe into 40s, right? So we're all kind of on the same playing field, right? So, us as concert goers, I mean, we don't buy tickets the same way. We don't come up.
I had to download an app just to go to your show.
Yeah, man. So that the experience getting in the building is so much different, and we look at life differently. So we look at going out and having fun differently. And are there kids that still want to move around to fast, like, energetic music? Yes. Are we going to find them? Maybe not as easily as we could because we are also 10 years older than we were. So anybody who's on the same bracket of age, their behavior is going to change. They're making different financial decisions for themselves. They might not want to buy the tickets this time. They might skip this time. Mm-hmm. Or there's a bigger concert and you see all the prices and things change with shows that aren't ours. Luckily our shows are, still, I would say, relatively affordable compared to a massive concert. But these are decisions that people have to make. This was a way easier decision when you were 20, but we're 30s, 40s. This is all different. It's all on us now. So it's up to us as performers to make sure they are still enthused. And I appreciate when bands or any sort of entertainers they have to have the enthusiasm to give to the audience to be enthused. So, they'll be enthusiastic if we give it to them.
Yeah, I think that is something that you guys have in spades. Go ahead, John.
I can also let you know, if you want to know straight industry fact, I can give you 3 industry facts. Ticket sales across the board are down. Most booking agents that I am still close with, most of the tours are underperforming. The mid-size room tours are having the biggest struggle, like the tours that are doing the 500 to 1,000 cap clubs are having the hardest struggle. There's a significant oversaturation in the festival because the festival was what succeeded post-pandemic, but now it's oversaturated. There is still success in the smaller 200 cap and less space because the tickets can be cheaper because bands that are playing those rooms are not asking for as large of a guarantee. And the reason why I would say the ticket sales are low across the board is because the ticket price is way too high, because the bands are asking for way too much money because they're not doing as many shows as they were doing in previous years. So they need to make money for their families, like any job. So that is tacked on to the consumer. And of course, the final problem is the oversaturation of internet and low attention span, where it is hard to get people to know that the event is even happening, let alone purchase the ticket. you got to first make sure they know that it is that the event even exists before you can convince them to purchase. And there's been an issue with people even knowing that something is there or not, because as I understand, if a show's not doing well, a promoter's already losing money. They're going to cut the advertising budget, so there's no more ads on that flyer. So that has stopped hitting people's feeds. So people don't know that tour is coming. So this is a little bit of some of the issues that are happening within the industry. And of course, you can see that on big news TMZ when massive arena tours like Lincoln Park are being downsized and free tickets are being given out, as you see on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And you could also just see it in touring bands that you would normally notice a larger crowd at those mid-sized rooms, but the photographers are really good at their job and making the show look like it was a sellout. And also just look at the flyers. You know, there was an era where you looked at flyers and it said sold out or low tickets. And some of those exist still because there are always outliers, but there's a lot you'll see that don't have a single bit of text on those dates that say anything because the rooms are too big or the tickets are too low. So I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just being honest. This is just to go hand in hand with what Henry was saying. I'll double down and say, as a small band, I want the ticket to be as low as I can because I know our fans are struggling, and I want to go out and do my job and be enthused because if someone is willing to give $20, $15, $25 to escape their problems, I want to make sure that they go home and they feel good that that's what they did, because they could have just went to the drive-thru. This is me, someone who I cope with food. I could have went to the drive-thru and gotten $20 worth of food, and I've been just as happy at home. You know what I mean? With a episode of TV. So it's, again, going back to why I was fired up when this band started. It's just like those of us that are still able to be in the entertainment industry, I wish everyone was as grateful for the fact that we still get to be entertainers. I think it's really important that we get humbled to that, because, man, a lot of people out there struggling, and we still get to get on the road and we still get to just go and create art and have people resonate with it. And I think that's really special. So you got me a little fired up tonight. We've been out for 8 weeks and we're fired up. So I'm feeling good. Dude, right now.
That was like a masterclass in behind the scenes, like economics of the music industry. And Chris and I are music enthusiasts. We're not touring musicians or musicians at all. So I find that interesting as hell to learn those behind the scene things. 8 weeks, guys. Are you okay?
Yeah, we're okay.
We're man. The record came out. We hit the ground running the same way we did when the band got started. We told ourselves, what we know is the old way. What we know that works, as Henry said, we know how to get out there and play the show. And while people are finding out about the record, best case scenario is for them to find out, oh my Lord, they're playing this in our city in 8 days. So we did as much of the U.S. as we can. And that's why we're going back out next month on the West Coast. And then we're going to announce overseas in August because the record's out. We just want to stay on top of it before people's attention span goes into the ether and we lose them. Yeah. It's really successful. I mean, as I said off air before we got started, we had a lot of shows and not a lot of off days. We're not really a band that takes off days. We book even on the Mondays. So it kind of all hit us. And we were at Warped in DC yesterday and played an incredible, in the pouring rain, 8 p.m., close out the side, little smart punk, loyal to the craft gimmick, fake stage, everybody jumping on top of each other. And it's like driving home. It was like, all right, I'm toast now. That was poetic, and I'm toast.
No, so, we emptied the clip at the end of that. I mean, we did completely just anything that was left went into that set.
That's awesome.
It had to happen. It had to happen that way.
That's awesome. You can't ask for a better way to kind of close out your segment there than at the 30-year reunion of Warped Tour.
100%. No. All the gear is broken. We've got 3 weeks to fix all the gear.
Yeah.
Everything's broken.
Handling all that tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
So speaking of the 3 weeks, so 3 weeks until you go West Coast, right? Is that what you said? And
yeah.
Are you guys going to do anything different out there? Is it a similar show to what you put on out here? Going to change up a couple things, or
we might try some of the other songs because we have a full length now, and it's a new problem for us to have a lot of songs. It used to be that we had 10, so like, well, what can we change the order of the same 10? And now we actually have a catalog. So, it'd be fun to workshop some of the other songs out and see how it plays live. Sometimes things play live better than they do on records. Sometimes the other way around. Um, and the West Coast is still a place that we haven't had like a lot of big tours out there just yet. We've had a few, where we're supporting other bands, but we're still growing out there much more comparatively than anywhere else on the East Coast or the Midwest or anything like that. And so it'll be interesting to see what the kind of response we've been having over there, because it might feel a little bit different than what we just came off of. But no, I think we're still going to do, pretty much the same show. And the time it's gotten really, really dialed in, and we felt really locked in and how everything was flowing. We've always had really great chemistry on stage, not to brag, but I think we've really connected well when we're performing together. But I think that we really worked hard to take it to a new level, and I'm excited to continue what we've started in 8 weeks. So it went really well. I don't see any sense in changing it just yet, unless the West Coast just totally doesn't vibe with.
They will. And say hello. You guys announced, or somebody announced, our buddies, College Radio. They're playing, I think 3 or 4 of your Washington dates. They're really cool. They've been on our show. They're buddies. So say hello for us. But Henry, you mentioned something, and I wanted to pick your brain on it. We talked about attention spans and getting people to listen to new music. And, you kind of mentioned, in the past, it's been EPs, it's been singles, because, a touring band, a working band, you got to keep people's attention. So where was the decision to say, it's time to do a full length?
Mostly, part of it is just the workflow of the band. I'm the primary songwriter of the band, and so it's not that it takes me a long time. I have ideas all the time, but my workflow. We tour a lot, which kind of, it doesn't hinder the songwriting process, but it definitely depletes my energy creatively sometimes. So I have to step back and kind of regroup my thoughts. And sometimes I didn't have the time. So some of it is just internal things, but some of it is just that it just didn't play out just yet for us to get in there and be like, let's do 12 songs. Sometimes we didn't have the budget for 12 songs. Mm-hmm. It just was, hey, we have the time to record 6. We have the time to write 6. Let's do 6. And we also weren't sure just yet if we had the type of fan base that is interested in Keep Flying on record for 35 minutes, right? So I well, we know we can get them for 18. So this is working. Let's kind of do this. And then coming into this cycle, I think we weren't sure initially that was going to be, let's do the LP. I just kind of said, hell with it. I have a lot of ideas. Here's all of them. And, kind of sketched out my demos, showed the band, and it's like, it kind of turned into being a full length record. And we knew that we wanted to do it. It was one thing that we didn't want to, hit the end of our road and have never done. I'm not saying that like we are there. I think that we are very much invigorated by creating this record and putting it out, and the response, like it, not to sound down, but I have the conversation in my head and with members of the band of how much longer, and every now and then I hit the wall and I kind of write things just in case it never does happen again. I kind of write it as if this is the last one, do that. And I knew that let's at least do the full length. And if we fall on our face, then, maybe that's that. But this has been, the response to this has been fantastic. And we just always wanted to do one. And now because we've done one, it's all we'll ever do. We continue to set new bars for ourselves.
Talk about the theme, Time and Tide. I like that throughout the album, you guys do kind of come back to that theme in some of the lyrics several times, you know, without going through every lyric, or, where kind of did the sentiment come from?
Well, if there's any message in our band, it's in our name. Our name is not only, I think, a pretty neat band name, but also a mission statement in and of itself. And the line actually comes from a lyric that our bass player at the time, Chuck, had contributed, and he showed it to me in a small demo that he made, and I really liked it. And I was like, that's it's obviously it's an old adage, you know what I mean? It's a colloquialism that already existed, but the way that he incorporated, I thought this is a really cool thing that we can incorporate, not just once. I thought it was such a cool, powerful thing that I kind of took it and ran with it. He gave me a couple of lines, and I was like, well, I wonder if I can reprise this in a way that is neat and not just make it like the hook of one song. What if we could make this the hook of the record?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool to have collaborated and kind of done that in several ways. For the uninitiated, Time and Tide, They Wait for No Man, kind of reprises itself throughout the span of the record and delivered in different ways. So you hear it one way in my voice, you hear it another way in John's voice, you hear it another way in Chuck's voice. Like it's just kind of a way to deliver the same words, but maybe even different messaging each way.
Mm-hmm.
And also just the adage itself kind of relates back to our mission statement, which is we are limited in our time here on Earth, and it is up to us to make the most of our time and not to wait any longer to pursue the things that we want to do or pursue the things that make us happy. And that has always resonated as kind of the reason we started all of this and the reason why we push it as hard as we do, because it is this is our thing. This is our raison d'etre.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. And if we can pass that on to somebody else who may not be so sure as to how much time they have to do what they want to do, then that's a nice positive thing to put out in the world, I think.
From a songwriting standpoint, do you feel like Time and Tide carries some of your best work, or the band's best work, or is it a mixture?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes. Unequivocally.
It's just the bet. I genuinely feel that each record we've done that's been on that path, between Henry's songwriting and the bits of producing that we've had within the band itself, and with some outside people that we respect, and also with the personnel changing throughout the band, and who was also involved in little bits, with other parts and other sounds that were added to now, which, Time and Tide at the time was the best iteration of the band, the best group of people working on a record together with the best case scenario. And of course, just means that what the next record that comes after this will be even better than this record, because as it goes with any project, you could always look back and go, well, I have no notes, but there are things that maybe could be better, or things that we can try differently next time that might produce a better result. And now it's been a few months. I mean, it's been many months since the record was recorded, many months now since we heard the masters for the first time, and months since we've been now playing the songs. Of course, I know, at least for me, I know the things that I'm like, all right, I'm ready to take these new tools and apply it to the next record. Yeah. So I know that was a little bit more forward thinking, but I'll just double down with Henry and say, yes, this is the best current thing that we have and have done.
Well, let's
related back to what we were saying in the beginning, is taking all of the things, all the elements, the problem you run into when taking so much of so many things is how do you create a recipe with this? You can't just take every spice off the rack and throw it into the pot
Yeah.
and have it work all the way. And I'm not saying that we've ever done that and it's been a mess, but we've had to get better at directing our traffic as to how to make all of these elements work in a way that is consumable for people and that makes sense to do. You can't just have 6 people playing 6 things at the same time. So, we've had to really fine tune the recipe. So this is the best version of the recipe. We've never subtracted any bit of our sound. We've added things and elements. But you can't just plop something in there and like, oh, it's better now. You have to figure out how everything is incorporated. And I think this is the best job we've done using all of the spices and having the best outcome. So, and from now on, and now, like John said, we're going to continue to hone it and see what comes out next.
Cook.
And
Exactly.
That's challenging. Look, it's challenging to do that. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think that if you stick with one style, then, it's fine. People make amazing music with one style, but having to mix a bunch together, you really have to understand how that mixes together, like you just said, and give you guys a lot of credit for that, because it can't be easy to do it. It can't be easy to do it. Now that's your style, so it may come to you easier, than some others that don't think that way. But I give you a lot of credit for that, for sure. And the other piece that I wanted to mention is appreciate you already announcing the next record, John. So thank you for doing
That's
that.
right. Get ready for LP 2.
I thought we'd listen to something from LP 1 before we get into that. What do you guys think about that?
We're 45 minutes into talking about our music. We should probably play some.
We should listen to some. So I'll let you guys cue it up. John, you told me which song you want us to play. You want to give a little background on it or just go right in?
We're going to go with the song Mistakes. This is Henry's real pop jam, the funky one. It's the one we've been workshopping for the last 8 weeks on stage, shaking our hips, shaking our ass, using aux percussion. And it's the one that Warped selected to be on their 50 band comp, which was a huge honor. So we got to hear them blasting it at the front gate several times, which is, nice. Again, really cool.
Really cool.
And this is the one that we got the big smile up there on the stage, and we're all just grooving and dancing, and we're hoping that the crowd continues to groove and dance with us.
All right, here we go. Keep Flying, Mistakes off of Time and Tide.
I think this thing could collapse. You probably wanna stand back. I dismantle things with the worst of them. I'm a man of my words. Or maybe you haven't heard that it's about time to be wrong again. So, hey, what do you say? Do you wanna go make some mistakes with me? I'll decide the vibe. You can follow my lead like I wanna watch this world freeze, and I want guarantees that if it all ends, you're watching too. I need the love and the pain, or I won't wake up again. I just can't think of anything good to do, and I'm thinking that everybody everywhere is the same, running up numbers in a zero-sum game. They can't win, I can't win, I won't play. So, hey, what do you say? Do you wanna go make some mistakes with me? I'll decide the vibe, you can follow my lead like, oh, when you don't know how to be a person
Nice. That one is super fun, guys. Love it.
Thank you.
We got nothing like that before this.
Very dancey. And again, what I texted Chris after the show, I was like, these guys are like the most unique band that I've seen in forever. And you can't even kind of describe the vibe between the different songs. Listen to this full album, people listening. Listen to Time and Tide. You get a little bit of everything. That one was, I don't know. It's very floaty. It's very chill. You guys have harder stuff. There's some unclean vocals, and there's so much cool stuff.
That Mistakes is the one that on the Wheatus tour bus, Brendan B. Brown stopped the record and then just put that one 3 or 4 more times on loop and was like, there's something special here, man. There's there's a sound here. The vocal with the horns, there's just a thing here. I've not heard something like that. That's cool. I was sweating, all anxious. He was yelling at me on the bus, getting me all fired up. That I was like, okay, for him, we'll keep it rocking, because he's got the biggest song in the world. So
I showed this one in its infancy, like not even that version, like the version I made in my house, to songwriting folks that I know, people who've managed to be successful in this industry, and I so badly would like to write like one song that like goes, and it's been a risk because we're a punk band. Our ethos is pretty punk rock, right? And I wouldn't describe that song necessarily as a punk rock song. But again, going back to the very first thing we said, I am pulled in by everything. There's not a type of music that I'm turned off by when it comes to incorporating it into this band. And I love pop music. I love catchy stuff. And I don't think every song needs to be 220 beats per minute. So it's a little out of my comfort zone to have like created it. And like kind of, I was hoping like, is this going to work? And this is the first time I showed anybody anything and they went, oh, like no one's ever said, I've never showed anybody a Keep Flying song. They've been like, wow, that really kind of sucks actually. Like nobody's ever said like, this is bad, but it's the first time that anyone's ever reacted the way that Brendan reacted to him when he heard it. Like, wow, this is a song. And I was like, I might actually be onto something. So
when you write it, are you picturing the horns and those sections kind of in your head and allowing for those, or is that's kind of collaborative?
I try to leave space for where it would be. I don't plan the horns. So John and Rick are the ones who decide where that goes. Mm-hmm. There used to be a time where I would try to be like, it'd be very pointedly like, this is where the horn line goes. And that's not really how we do it anymore. I think that's kind of left the format. We find places for the horns to go and they decide where it goes. So yes, I do. And I try to do that with every element of the songs. I don't point and shoot everything except for the parts that I'm doing. Like I'll change lyrics in the studio sometimes, but I'm married to the themes of the songs and I'm, married to like the flow. This is where the fast part is. This is where, this is a chorus, pre-chorus, whatever, all that happy horseshit. But in terms of the horns specifically, John and Rick are very good at deciding where those melodies and harmonies go. And, and that's a great part of the collaborative process for us is getting everybody's spices in there. I like spices today. That's my word.
John, I got a serious question for you about spices. When are they going to make a fucking flavored reed for a fucking saxophone? If they made flavored reeds, I would still be playing the saxophone. I can't stand it.
Tahine.
They do have a spray, like a cleaning spray. There is a cleaning spray out there that has a flavor that you can use for the reeds, for the mouthpieces and the reeds, so that it's got like a lingering kind of taste. But I just never understood that because I can't tell for me, I need to know if I'm putting mold in my mouth. And if I have it covered, with the spray, the cleaning spray that has the vanilla scent, I'm not going to know the next day that the reed grew mold overnight, which does happen sometimes.
I can't even eat like the popsicles that have the wooden stick. because my like hair stands up from my PTSD from my saxophone days. It was
Yeah,
fun. It was fun, but the reed threw me off.
Yeah, it's mold. I mean, it's wood and water. So that's what you got. It happened on this tour twice where I opened the case and there was the collection on the mouthpiece and the used reed of the mold. One of the guys seen it and was like, "Good God." I was like, "Yeah, I know. I just clean it off. Don't worry about all that. I just don't worry about that." Slowly poisoning myself.
Let's guys, let's shift a little bit and talk about this music festival that you're going to be a part of. We touched on festivals earlier in our conversation, but
Yeah.
there's this one coming up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that we've been talking about during this month on this show called the Four Chord Music Festival. I understand that you guys are pretty familiar with this one, correct?
You want to give the fact there, Henry?
About Four Chord?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact is that I think I think it was the second one.
Why it would be so familiar for us?
Oh, well, first of all, dating back to the days of my previous band, I think that we have played nearly every iteration of Four Chord Music Festival, I believe, except for the first one. I think that the very first one's the only one that I was not at all involved in. And then my old band Survey Says appeared, I think, in number 2. And then by number 3, Keep Flying has with love has been there every time, which is an amazing opportunity. Our very good friend and co-manager Rishi, who you've talked to on the podcast, he puts on such a festival, and he's been more than kind to make sure that we are part of it every year. And it's not only a great opportunity for the band to grow and more or less directly why we have our own following in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is like a market for us. It's like it's a home base for us now due to the support that Four Chord gives us. It's not only that, like a great growth opportunity for the band, but it's generally a place where a lot of our friends, fan friends, people who work in the industry and people who don't, seem to congregate every single year. And so it's another reason why I look forward to it, is that the environment is always really welcoming and really family to very family oriented to us. And it's been great to watch it grow every year. And it's been not great to watch Rishi stress over it every single year. I worry about him genuinely, but he, just like us, that's why we vibe with him so well, is that he has this undying ambition to follow his path when it comes to his festival and his band. And, that's where we connect and vibe on the same frequency. So it just seems natural for us to be there every time. And it feels good. I can't wait for this year. It's going to be fantastic.
I mean, it's one of the only remaining independent festivals.
Yep.
Proudly independent, as you both are well aware. Anybody who wants to help support it or grow it, he's the first one. He's the one answering the emails, taking the calls, saying, yes, would love to have you. Happy to have your support. Happy to have, which, I think everyone has to respect. It really is a very comfortable environment because of what Henry said. And also he does a great job each year of just curating it a little bit bigger. And he just did it in a way where it never spiked, and it ramped up like tortoise style. And I have a looming feeling that because of that, I mean, what is this, 11?
Coming up on 11.
He's not gonna stop doing it. There's not too many other festivals that run longer than that. It's not like a thing that happens. There's not many festivals out there. A dozen that are last more than 3 years. Not many. Um, so I hope that I don't need to hope it. He'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. People will keep flocking there because I do think also he's very fair with the way that he prices it, and with as we talked about earlier with the oversaturation of festivals. I believe my message to a patron who has never attended: this is a great festival for you to put your hard-earned dollars towards to see a lineup, if it is a lineup that you in fact because there is a lot to see in the great steel city of Pittsburgh, and it's a great um, place to visit for someone who's never been versus any of the places that everyone's already been to: Las Vegas, Orlando, Los Angeles, New York. Okay. Pittsburgh, it's not a place that you're really driven to. And
Great
everyone that
stuff.
I know that comes from out of town always tells me if they stay or come early that they had a great time. So that's my opinion.
It's a great city, and like you said, if folks, there's a sect of live music enthusiasts that are, you know, and anti big business and things of this nature, and and your opinion can go one way or the other. It doesn't really matter to me, but like, if that's something that's important to you, that's something that you could consider with this festival. This is one guy. This is just one guy with friends that support him, and that want to create what it is that you see. And I think it's every bit as worth your concert money as a Warped Tour, or as a when we were young, or any of these other festivals that you see that kind of exist in the same space. So it's a great time. It's a great time. Great
I just
hang,
like
great
the city of Pittsburgh is very friendly. My friend Chris lives there, and so I like to see him. But I thought it was really cool. I went to Four Chord for the first time last year. Chris is more of an alumnus, but I went for the first time, and listen, it was fucking hot. It was 100 degrees. It was on a dead field. It was dirty, and I thought it was really cool the way that Rishi took care of the people. Right when the weather forecast came out. I don't know who he got on the horn. It changed the policies, the bag policy, the water bottle policy. They got refillable water stations. They made sure to post on social media, like, wear your sunscreen, make sure you're hydrated, don't get wasted. I just felt like I was being being looked out for by a festival, which, Live Nation's going to cover their ass if there's a big festival and you pay them. But I don't know. I felt like it was more of a community feel. I got a good vibe.
Not to mention the other day with the rain, he did a great job of making sure everybody was out and safe. And then also, I know some people left because, they felt like they had to, but also unheard of to, after that amount of time, tell people, come on back in. You're actually going to get the most unique yellow card, unplugged, no tracks, no in-ear monitor system set you could possibly. That was the most unique set for someone. I love the yellow card guys. I've been on tour with them many times. Great guys. I watched their whole set from the front, post the rain, laughing my ass off because I got the most unique, genuine, old school set from a band who's super big and polished now. Because, hey, will you still play? Yes, but half the gear ain't working, so this is what it is. It was magical. And again, unheard of. Any other festival, it would have just been over. It's over. Too much time has passed. Too much rain damage. We're done now. I was so enthused and just laughing my ass off and having a great time dancing out there in the rain puddles. I was like, this is great.
And
Great.
the reason is because go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's because Rishi's a fan of these bands. That's why he wanted it. He could have just taken everyone's money and said, "Sorry, the weather, bye." But he probably wanted to see this, and he wants the people to see that. That's all I had.
No, I've told the story multiple times, and I appreciate. So what you're saying, John, is really cool. But I have no greater regrets. I probably do, but I have no greater regret than leaving and not coming back. And I'll tell you what, the reason I did is because I think you nailed it with the unheard of part. I knew in my head, I said, there's no way I've been to a million concerts. There's no way that they're gonna reopen this. And I left. And so yes, I'm jealous and I regret that, but it is really cool what they did, and I really wish I could go back and watch, what I missed. But I also, when we asked Rishi, we asked him, like, about about this festival getting bigger, and he gave an answer, but I guess, look, it's gotten bigger over the years, but it is something special. It is a Pittsburgh thing. How big do you really want it to get? And I think he understands that. Like, you want to keep it at a level. You want to keep it at a level, and I think he's going to do it. And yes, we'll continue to get bigger bands. You got Blink 182 this year. You got other huge bands that have come over the years. So you could still do those things, but keep it, at the level that it's at. So
I think you nailed it on both points. The unheard of thing. That's why a lot of people left. And no one should kick themselves for that or kick him for that. I think it's great that they figured out something. And on the second part, I think in fact, I know you're 100% accurate in saying that he feels that way too. He would never want it to go to that kind of level where it's almost not necessarily uncontrollable, but losing the identity, which is something that we do see
Bamboozled.
quite often.
Sorry, excuse
We
me.
see a lot of identity loss just gone because it's become too big or too corporate. And of course, those who were around for a long time of those kinds of things all say it in unison at the same time. Everyone is able to just see it and go, this is just different now. And I don't like it as much as I did. So I think he, as a fan, like you said, Steve, will never allow it to be that way. I think he would really quickly check himself. Be like, wait a minute. It's supposed to be about Pittsburgh, and we got to keep it like that.
Yeah.
But
And
for that same reason, I could see if it did get too big, I could, it could waver. You could always come back down and it still be successful. And everything's just scaled. You know what I mean? Like, we used to do that for years with Warped Tour. Plenty of locations where it was only 6,000 people and not 40. The whole thing's scaled. You scale it and it's suddenly just as awesome. So, yeah, the heart's there. It ain't going nowhere. I know you know that, Chris. It ain't going anywhere.
absolutely. And hopefully, regardless of that, hopefully you guys continue to have a spot, and I'm sure you will, on the bill in some way, shape, or form, because I put on a great show, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. You guys you're playing this year. I mean, I saw you on the bill. Hopefully that doesn't change. I'm counting on it because of what Steve said, and I haven't had a chance to catch you guys live yet, but definitely a band that I'm not going to miss. Are you guys playing day one or day two for people that don't know?
Day one.
Blink Day.
Day one. Blink with. Oh well, come on.
Set your goals day.
Mark Hoppus is going to come on and play saxophone for John.
Yeah, he's going to play trumpet.
Fine. I know a little bit of trumpet too. So, well, no, I don't. I did in sixth grade, but
you know what it is? We're playing because he's got the 2-stage setup now. Like that's the way it's been, where it just alternates. So I believe we're second or first on one of the stages, but second overall. And that works for us because we will just get up there and do what we do, which is kick the door open, and everyone that's there, it sets the bar. And of course, and we hear it every year because we play early in the lineup every year. There's always people who get there late and then are like, why did I miss that? And hey, this is a warning now. Just get there for doors, please.
Get there on time.
Yeah. It's not hard. It's not hard to do it. And you don't want to miss it. And I think I learned my lesson after the first year because I was one of those people that missed the earlier bands, and I hadn't done that since that year. So I'm excited to not do that again this year. But Steve, any other thoughts or questions before we move on to our final segment?
Nah, go for it.
So, guys, just switching gears here. We always do a segment on the show called "Ranking It," and I really just want to know because it seems like influence wise, there might be a long list of bands that you guys really grew up into, right? I don't. I know there's a lot of bands that you've toured with, and definitely a lot of influences, whether it be ska or punk. I know you guys said that you like to consider yourselves, maybe punk, but maybe a mixture of different things. So that said, just give me your three favorite, and I'm not going to go bands. I'm actually going to go three favorite albums of all time, and this is your personal favorite in order: three, two, one. Not bands, albums.
Okay.
Stalling for time.
Yeah.
Henry, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
All right.
I'm ready.
Oh, you go. You go.
All right. Mine wavers and changes, as I'm sure every person you've ever had says that.
100%.
But I went with the first three things that I thought of. So, number 3, Andrew WK's I Get Wet. A time in my life where I went and saw him at every show that he did in the Northeast from 2001 to 2004, my entirety of high school. Every single show, because his show is what I try to emulate with Keep Flying Now. I was inspired by him and his fans. Number 2, the Mighty Mighty Ballstones Impression That I Get. I know that it's the breakthrough record, and there's lots of other records by them that I also love, but that was a just same thing at the time, front to back. Anytime any song on that record comes on, I know every single lyric, and it puts me in a mood. I'm instantly going like this no matter where I am. Don't care. And number 1.
You mean Let's Face It, by the way.
Sorry, Let's Face It. My bad.
I'm sorry.
I jumped the gun, went right to the song.
I'm sorry.
Because that's the song. Sorry, my bad.
That's fact checker Henny. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're correct. My brain just went there. Sorry. Number 1 is Weird Al Yankovic's Running with Scissors. I would say Bad Hair Day, but I really spent more time with Running with Scissors. And same thing, that was the first concert I ever went to, and the artist that I've paid money to see more than any other artist. That is one of the only shows that I will see more than one time on his world tour this year, as I've done with every tour he's ever done. And that was the record for me. That stuck, that made it like solidified. I'm in for life with you, man. I'm in for life. I'm not going nowhere.
That's awesome. I was not expecting that list of 3, but I love that. Very, very unique, very eclectic, and it's makes sense. So cool stuff. And okay.
Schooled by Henry on the Ballstones album. Tattooed on my hand, Schooled by my singer. Me just being excited, all fired up, just flipping it in my disheveled 8-week mind. Henry, take it away.
I do it frequently, and Steve corrects me, so I understand.
Listen, John, you're not a coward. You've just never been tested. I'd like to think that if
He
you
knows,
were, you would pass.
Look, he's already dancing.
Very funny. I like what you did right there.
That was good. Good segue.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
I like what you did right there. So, let me understand the assignment. I have to pick 3 records.
Yes.
Of any kind. Like we're not
any genre.
Top 3.
That's why it's hard. Okay. All right. So when tasked with this challenge, I have to think of it in a way. I have to do the desert island bit. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you get 3.
I think that's fair.
If I get 3, I have to think about what's important to me and what I would need for myself to feel good, and so I could represent all of the things that I love. So here's what popped in my brain while you were talking and while I was correcting you about the Mighty Mighty Ballstones catalog. I'm gonna pick for my soft indie kind of sad wistful side. I'm gonna pick "Oh Inverted World" by the Shins, because there's a lot of indie rock bands, especially around that era, that I really love, and this will be a record that I can rock with, but I can also chill with, and I can also make me happy, and can also evoke deep emotional connections for me. So that's why I choose that. I had to choose a hip hop record. So and this is a really hard one to do, to pick. But if I had to pick one, I suppose I would pick the Marshall Mathers EP, LP by Eminem, and only because like I get the most out of it in terms of again, a full spectrum of feeling. I can have fun. I can connect it back to deeper things. I mean, if I have to pick an Eminem record, I guess it'd be that one. There's a million of them. And I guess I'd have to also represent punk rock and ska and the whole reason I picked up guitar in the first place. So if I had to pick anything in that world, I would probably pick Why Do They Rock So Hard by Real Big Fish. Because if I didn't hear Real Big Fish in the 2000s, I would have never picked up a guitar. And ultimately, if you really want to butterfly effect it, we wouldn't be doing this interview right now. And I wouldn't have done anything that I've done in my life if it wasn't for them. So there you go. Those are my three. So that way I can at least cover the spectrum of most of the spectrum of the things that I'm into.
That album is one of my favorites of all time. So, I mean, I can't argue with you.
Great fun fact. We played all of their very last shows as we were on tour with them up until the pandemic, and then they have yet to come back.
As it stands right now, on June 16th, 2025, Keep Flying was on the bill for the very last public appearance of the band Real Big Fish.
Wow.
And that is a crazy thing for me specifically because everything I just said to you is 100% true. It's not that I wasn't into different eras, different aspects of rock music before I had heard Real Big Fish. It's just that I never would have pursued creating rock music of any kind if I hadn't heard I actually heard Cheer Up first somehow, but that if I hadn't heard that in my friend's fucking basement when I was in high school, I would have never been inspired to make ska music, which then evolved into everything else that I've done. So God bless them. There you go. I owe everything to them.
Chris, I think if we take those 6 albums, we're in good shape on the desert island. We'll just take each of their 3 and we're good.
Yeah. 1,000%. 1,000. I'm so excited that you said Real Big Fish. Why Do They Rock So Hard? Not just Real Big Fish, but that album. Like I just, wow.
Oh, sonically, it's their best one. And I think that it's one of probably the most dynamic. I think they're at their peak songwriting at that point. Cheer Up is also
it's good too.
John and I go back and forth on Cheer Up versus this one, which I think Cheer Up was the follow-up to this. So
it was after it. Yeah.
Either way, we're in the same. That's peak Real Big Fish was those two. I think we can agree.
Down in Flames.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's what I'm saying, dog. The guitar work on that record it's never as good as it is on that record. Anyway, I could keep going.
I would like to see them again live. I saw them before the pandemic, so we
need them to come back. We've been begging. We've been praying.
We run into Matt Appleton and
harass him.
Every time we lightly bring it up, we're like, "What's up, man?"
I think it'll probably happen.
I've never seen them live.
You haven't?
They can't. No, like I kept missing them, and a buddy of mine went and didn't tell me. Oh, it was defeating. But
I had it in my brain, my conspiratorial brain. There was one little slot left off on the Long Beach Warped Tour that's happening soon, and I was like, and it was in the R's. It was. I don't remember. I don't know who it is actually got announced, but it was like left specifically off, and I was like, if this is it, it would A, make a lot of sense, and B, I have to be there. I've already told my band that like wherever they are, if they announce a last show, I have to go.
Yeah.
So
Henry, I went to this club. It was a long time ago. I think it was in Old Bridge, New Jersey. So it was, I guess, a
Wow.
little central
I know.
Jersey.
I know. I know exactly where that is.
So one day it was 2 days back to back. It was Midtown and Taking Back Sunday was one day, and the next day
Oh,
was
it was. What was the name of that place? It was.
Chrome or
Yeah.
no Old
Yeah.
Bridge. Was it called Chrome?
I think
There
so.
was another. I don't know. The
There were
second
shows
day
there. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Real Big Fish and Starting Line, and it was the last day of their tour, and they were just trolling each other the entire time. Starting Line was playing, and Aaron starts like heckling him from the crowd, and he's like, "Oh, who's that guy's dad?" And then when Real Big Fish comes on, he had like a white T-shirt with Sharpie marker that said like the Starting Line smells like dog balls or something silly like that. But it was one of the coolest back-to-back just coincidence shows I'd ever
I
seen.
think I also saw that tour in Manhattan.
It was probably the day before. I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because
Birch Hill nightclub.
Birch Hill.
That's what it was.
They used to love taking the drive-through records bands. That happened several times with Real Big Fish, is taking whatever popping off drive-through records band. You know,
Why not?
Well, thank you guys for being good sports. And I'll tell you what, like my original question that I went away from was going to be to ask you, who is your favorite ska band of all time? Who is the best ska band of all time? And I didn't ask it, so we don't have to do it, but I'm still curious.
Can you ask it so we can give you two answers?
I want to ask it, and I'm just gonna. I know it's.
I feel like it's asked.
For the sake of a concise show, I shouldn't ask it, but I don't care.
Like at the tail end, and you're flirting with adding like 20 minutes to this.
We're just gonna do it because I think that the people want. I want to. I don't want the people. I want to hear it.
We'll keep it concise.
What's the favorite? What's the not your favorite? What's the best ska band of all time?
Well, what does that even mean? See, that's what I'm saying. How deep do you want me to go with this? Here's one thing. Here's for context. I'm unafraid of being the ska fan in Keep Flying. And not all of the bands, by the way. I want you to know. I think that ska fans are pretty guilty of being like, well, we have to support everybody. I don't feel that way. But like I still very much love it. I'm very proud of it. And because of that, I can go very deep into this answer. So it's like, are we talking objectively speaking? Are we talking about musicianship? Are we talking about being true to what ska is? Are we talking, you know what I mean?
Listen, I'll make it easy for you. You take all of those things you just said and wrap them up into one nice, concise package and make your decision based on that.
I got mine. Because although it comes off that I am not like that, the acrobats were my first tattoo I ever got, right here, 18 years old. Now, that is not my answer, but there are several ska bands tattooed on my arm because I am still very much in love with it. My strong answer with no second thought, although the Boss Tones are my favorite ska band, I think the absolute best ska band, and also one of my favorites, is the band MU330 from St. Louis, Missouri. Their songs, their show, the people, and the vibe is all something. I don't understand why they did not get bigger. I'll never really understand why MU330 did not. We're not in the same bubble with the Less Than Jake, the Catch-22, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, the Real Big Fish. I don't know why. I just will never understand, and I think that they're. That's just my answer. No more reasoning for me. That's it.
That's all you need. Henry?
Check them out.
Calculating.
He's stressed.
This is so unfair because I don't want to. First of all, I don't want to glaze Real Big Fish more than I already have. I just did a lot, but I do think that if I'm going to show somebody this music for the very first time, they're the band I would choose. But I also would have to have this debate and think, should I pick a Less Than Jake song too? Because, but I would say, and this is not against Less Than Jake, they're again, I wouldn't be here without them. I think factoring in elements of skill and musicianship and other dynamics like that, I have to give it to Real Big Fish. I simply think that they're a more naturally talented band. Less Than Jake is incredibly entertaining, and they write great punk songs, and they have elements that are undeniable as well. But I think when factoring in other things that Real Big Fish does better in their prime, especially, I think I'd have to give it to them. And that's a completely biased answer, but it is what it is.
He just wants him to come back. He wants that one more show. You know what I mean?
I would
Just
say Real
one.
Big Fish too.
I just need one.
Yeah.
Just need one.
Well, yeah, Steve, call the Discord and tell them that I told them so. Just do that.
They're probably listening. Yes, but we will. I will call the Discord.
All right. Well, thank
We
you
have a
guys for
Discord.
being good sport. Thank you for being once again. And that's you were right. It is tough, but it's fun. So anyway,
Fun.
I digress.
Guys, this was fun. Ranking it's fun. Keep Flying is fun. Time and Tide is fun. Guys, tell them where to follow you on the thingam and stuffers.
All this shit. Everything.
Do the internet thing.
Keep Flying Band is the handle on most actually it's the handle. If there is a handle, it's Keep Flying Band.
And Time and Tide is out on all the streaming services. I saw at the show that you had some vinyls. Are we selling those out? Are they available online?
They're still available, yes.
All right.
If certain variants are gone,
Okay.
and certain pressings are gone, or almost gone, but there are still copies readily available at smartpunkshop.com or keepflying.band. So keepflying.band is the website, Keep Flying Band is the handle, and records at smartpunkshop.com.
Yeah, and if they're coming to your town, it's not a super expensive ticket. Go see it. It's going to be a fucking great time. And you're going to text your buddy, like I texted Chris, and say, this is the coolest band that I've seen in a really long time. So do it.
Yep. Do that, and also check them out at the Four Chord Music Festival. We'll be there. You should be there too. You can check out this band in addition to all of the other ones. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the road to Four Chord. It seems like we had a great time too, and I'm glad we kind of closed it this way. Great conversation with the guys from Keep Flying. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, we would like to hear from you. If you have Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a rating, give us a written review. Go check out our swag, High School Never Ends. We have a shop with some really cool stuff. You can get there via our hub, which is www.hsnepod.com.
That's right. We're on the social things at HSNEpod, like High School Never Ends Pod. And we're on Patreon, patreon.com/HSNEpod. Thank you to our patrons, Punkish Dad, Ashley, Jeff, Nick, Sam, Tom, Jason. We appreciate it very much. We appreciate you guys in Keep Flying. John, Henry, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
Dragon Wagon.